This is CNN Breaking News.
Hello, I'm Ana Cabrera. I want to welcome our viewers around the world and here in the U.S. We begin with breaking news. Right now, we are following reports of an attack unfolding at a tourist resort in the capital of the Philippines. Gunfire and explosions have been heard at the Resorts World Manila. This is a casino and hotel, a complex really near Manila's International Airport, and police, fire trucks, SWAT teams, they are all on the scene right now. This information is coming to us from CNN Philippines. It happened just after midnight local time there, but this a casino that operates 24 hours a day. At this stage, we don't have reports of any deaths or injuries. Of course, it's a developing situation. And let me give you the backdrop here of this. This is a recent insurgence we've been seeing of ISIS militants and anti-ISIS bombing campaign happening right now in the Philippines, marking the terror group's first significant foothold outside the Middle East. Again, no confirmation at this hour exactly who is involved in this latest attack. I want to bring in Ivan Watson, who's joining us from Singapore. Ivan, what are you hearing and learning?
Well, Anna, this is still very much a developing situation, and as you reported, as we're hearing from our sister network, CNN Philippines, reports of gunfire, of explosions taking place around a hotel complex that is very close to the international airport in Manila, in the Philippines capital. Reports of people fleeing the scene. This complex has a number of hotels in it. It has a shopping mall and also a casino complex as well. We're getting reports of heavily armed Philippine security forces, SWAT police officers moving to the area, as well as fire trucks as well. We do not know who is behind this, no claims of responsibility, no confirmations of any casualties at this time. The context is important. We don't have any direct correlation here, again, any claims of responsibility, but this comes about a week after there's been just a surge of violence on the southern Philippines island of Mindanao, when you have Islamist militants who have aligned themselves with ISIS, who took control of a town called Marawi there. Tens of thousands of people have fled, reports of more than 100 casualties there, and the government has had to declare martial law on that island. This is, of course, the Philippines capital, very far from that island, and it's still very much an unfolding situation, and we'll be bringing you up to date as we learn more from the Philippine security forces and from eyewitnesses on the ground around the Resorts World complex there near the airport. Anna?
Ivan, one of the eyewitnesses we heard from earlier here on CNN was describing this scene, talking about hearing explosions and gunfire, but that had since stopped. Do you know any more whether this is still an active assault that's taking place, or whether the perpetrators here have been captivated?
We haven't gotten any information from Philippines officials yet at this time. It's been worth noting it's only 2 o'clock in the morning right now in Manila, and this has clearly created at least among hotel employees, very much a sense of panic and concern. So we're still trying to piece together what exactly has happened there, and is this in fact still an unfolding situation? So we're just going to have to bring you up to date as we get more information about that, Anna.
We'll let you continue to work your sources and gathering that information. I want to bring in Colonel Cedric Layton, CNN military analyst, who has been to this area many times. What strikes you about what you're learning?
Well, and I think the biggest thing here is that, this is an area where a lot of Filipinos go for their vacation time, for their leisure time, and it also attracts a lot of foreign tourists. So what you're finding is a soft target. This is a classic soft target for terrorists to go after. And the fact that they're doing this indicates that whoever is behind this is ramping up their efforts against the regime of President Duterte. And the fact that they're doing it now shows that I think they believe that they need to send a message to the Filipino government, and unfortunately a lot of innocent civilians are going to be caught in the crossfire.
We're hearing this is an area where there are multiple hotels, there's a casino, there's a shopping center. So it's quite the complex. If you are law enforcement responding to this scene, what's your approach?
Well, your basic approach is going to be one in which you have to secure the perimeter. And what you have to end up doing is you have to make sure that you contain any casualties, any damage that is there. The other thing that you have to do is you have to make sure that the terrorists don't escape. If you can catch them, That then shortens your investigative time frame. It also makes it possible for you to really find out more about the terrorist attacks, what their modus operandi is, and also who they're working for. And that, I think, is going to be the key factor.
Let me bring in CNN terror analyst Peter Bergen joining us now. Again, this is an unfolding situation, Peter. We don't know exactly what is happening just now. We know there have been explosions. There have been sounds of gunfire, people wearing masks reportedly on the second floor of this hotel complex. But again, it's the context that makes this even more alarming given the terrorism and additional activity we've seen from groups like ISIS in parts of the Philippines.
Yeah, I mean, let's start with the modus operandi of this attack and think about some previous attacks that look very similar. This looks like a so-called Fedayeen attack, which Colonel Layton was just saying, perhaps you want to try and capture these guys. I don't think that's going to be an option here. These guys, if it is a Fedayeen attack, are going in to die. You know that at the beginning. All in Mumbai and about a decade ago, where they went in, they took all the hotel guests hostage. They fought to the death, and it played out on cable TV for pretty much live for 3 days. This is the intent, to make this last as long as possible. We saw this also in Kenya with the Westgate Mall attack. Similarly, gunmen went in, took hostages, fought to the death, and the whole thing lasted at least 48 hours. So that's the modus operandi. Then the context that you mentioned, Anna. ISIS has called for attacks during Ramadan. Unfortunately, we've seen 4 very significant attacks in Iraq, one outside an ice cream parlor, killing mostly women and children in Baghdad. We saw the massive attack just in the last 24 hours in Kabul, killing more than 90. We've seen other attacks, and unfortunately for groups that if indeed this is an Islamist terrorist group, as it seems plausible, you have both Abu Sayyaf in the Philippines and then also ISIS. These groups see an attack on Ramadan as being particularly auspicious, even though 99.9% of the world Muslims are in fact opposed to this kind of attack and are fasting and praying during the holy month of Ramadan.
We're looking at images coming to us from the scene right now where you see people looking to be in fear. We see people on the ground. We see people looking around. Again, we don't know exactly the status of everybody who was in this area. No reports of casualties, but also we don't have all the information. I want to get to Maria Ressa. She's the executive editor of Rappler near the scene. I know, Maria, you've been hearing from witnesses there. What are they telling you?
They heard gunshots. Some people are saying that they saw masked men, but then others said they haven't. Some people we've seen people walk out injured and are being treated by paramedics outside on the street, outside we have ambulances and fire trucks. Some folks coming out dazed, but right now it's about an hour and a half after it happened, and people are waiting for word. We have heard from the Philippine National Police. A spokesman from the police have asked media to be careful about their coverage, to not compromise operations that are going on right now, and to be aware raw information could be damaging as well. It's unclear exactly what's happening. The smoke, though, is still there, and we're waiting to hear more.
You mentioned that people were being treated by ambulances. Any sense of the types of injuries or why they're being treated?
Unclear. What we've seen are people being brought outside. A woman who is looked like she was limping, being held by 2 men who are helping her outside, and then out on the sidewalk, paramedics who were just taking care of a person who couldn't walk. We also saw photos of overturned car after some of the explosions, but again, it's unclear exactly what is happening now.
And in terms of law enforcement presence on the scene, we understand that there is a combination of police, SWAT teams. There's also these emergency responders like firefighters and ambulances that have responded. Set the scene a little bit for us in terms of what you can visibly see. And are you seeing a strategy in terms of law enforcement responding?
What we know is that SWAT teams have gone into the building. Witnesses, they've asked people to evacuate. They're two hotel complexes right on either side. The people who have evacuated, some of them actually hid. One man who identified himself as Julio Silva told us that he was on the third floor of the building when he heard the gunshot. He hid in the bathroom. He said several more gunshots followed, thick smoke, and then before he fled, he fled and got outside along with his companions. He went to the second floor where security guided him out of the building. So it's unclear exactly what operations are going on inside, but people outside are waiting to hear word about it.
All right, Maria, stay with us. I want to go to Ivan Watson once again. Ivan, you have some new information reporting from the hotel. What are they saying?
That's right. The verified Twitter account of Resorts World Manila has tweeted that, quote, Resorts World Manila is currently on lockdown following reports of gunfire from unidentified men. The company is working closely with the Philippine National Police to ensure that all guests and employees are safe. We ask for your prayers during these difficult times. So we've got statements coming from the hotel's verified Twitter account coming out on social media. And a little bit of more context about this area. I've stayed in some of the hotels in this compound. There's a Marriott hotel there, for example, where several years ago I actually saw them hosting a U.S. Marine ball at that location. So that gives you a sense of kind of some of the foreign customers that would be coming to some of the hotels in that complex. There's an adjoining shopping mall there, and though there are some security measures, you'll have, for example, dogs and guards that could be sniffing people coming in and out, and it's quite typical for there to be armed guards outside of hotels and shopping malls in Manila. There are also links between the shopping mall complex there and the Marriott Hotel and the other networks of hotels and casinos in that area. You can walk across the streets between these various hotels and shopping areas. And this is all, again, very close to Manila's international airport. There's also an Air Force presence in that broader area of Manila itself. And of course, reports and that are now verified now from the official account of Resorts World Manila of gunfire and a hotel right now that's in lockdown as this situation does still appear to be unfolding, Anna.
And we're hearing from those witnesses, those nearby, saying they're still seeing smoke rising from the scene. Ivan Watson, excuse me, stay with us. We're going to take a quick break here as we continue to follow this breaking news right now happening in the Philippines, in Manila. Reports of gunfire, masked men, explosions in a resort complex near the airport. We're working to gather more information. Stay with CNN. We'll be right back.
This is CNN Breaking News.
Back to our breaking news. Right now, we are following reports of an attack unfolding at a tourist resort in the capital of the Philippines. Gunfire and explosions have been heard at the Resorts World Manila. This is a casino and hotel complex near Manila's International Airport. Now, we've seen police, fire trucks and SWAT teams all on the scene, according to eyewitnesses. This information coming to us from CNN Philippines. Also, it happened, we're learning, just after midnight local time. This is a casino, of course, that operates 24 hours a day. At this stage, we don't have reports of deaths or injuries. The situation is still unfolding. And the backdrop of this is a recent insurgence of ISIS militants and anti-ISIS bombing campaigns happening in the Philippines, marking the terror group's first significant foothold outside the Middle East. So we're working as we get through this situation to get more information on who could be involved in this tourist attack, a potential terrorist attack at a tourist destination. Let's go live now to April Rafales. She is the ABS CBN journalist near the scene there. April, I understand you're very close. What are you seeing and hearing?
Anna, we are just outside the Resorts World Manila. We are at the southern part of the complex, and we can't get inside because it's been cordoned off as it is now in lockdown after reports of several gunfires emerged shortly after 12 midnight a while ago. But this is what we know so far after talking to some witnesses and people and civilians coming from the casino building. They said that shortly after 12 midnight, several men wearing black masks and wearing black clothing all over, entered the second floor of the casino building and opened fire at people inside. That's why the people who were currently at the third floor started to open the windows and jump out of the windows and jumped out of the building from the third floor. That's why some of them are now injured and were immediately rushed to the hospital. We are not sure yet what people or what suspects are they or what groups they are affiliated with, because the National Capital Region Police Office is very careful not to say anything that might preempt their operations, or that might give undue or unnecessary information to the people, especially to the public, who are now in panic. All we know is that these are several people who are wearing black masks and wearing black clothing all over, who did not identify themselves. We are not yet sure if there are people who are still inside, or if there are injured victims who are still inside. But the people, the Philippine National Police, together with the Bureau of Fire and the security forces, are all over the place, guarding the place and strategizing on how they can get inside. Because their priority right now is to make sure that no other civilians will be hurt who are still inside. Anna?
All right, April Rafales, thank you for giving us that update again as we continue to follow this breaking news out of the Philippines, out of Manila, where it appears a terrorist attack may be underway. Reports of gunfire, several men in masks wearing black clothing storming this tourist destination, a hotel and casino complex near the airport in Manila. We continue to talk with people on the ground to get a better sense of exactly what's unfolding here. We have learned that the resort is on lockdown right now. We'll continue to follow this developing situation, but we have more breaking news right now here in the United States. New information right now on President Trump's big decision on whether to withdraw from the Paris Climate Agreement. Let's go straight